We are now in the final day of round 4 in the Phoenix Festival tournament, with the last couple of matches to go over. As always, use the links in the description below to go and vote for who you think would win in each match and give your reasoning as to why. And the matches today start off strong with Adam Tauros versus James Ironwood in the Geyser and Savannah biomes. This would be a tricky fight for both opponents, as Ironwood, attacking from range using his twin pistols of due process, would easily be able to charge up Adam's semblance. And even though Adam is able to gain all of this power from Ironwood's bullets, he needs to get close to Ironwood to be able to deal damage to him. And Ironwood's Gravity Dust pistol would be able to keep the distance between them. So this would be tricky back and forth, but I think Adam has the advantage overall, as his semblance of Moonslice would constantly be charged up by Ironwood attacking him. Now, Ironwood could use his Gravity Dust bullets to launch himself around the stage and try to get vantage points on Adam, but when Ironwood was fighting against Watts, Watts was able to use the Hard Light Dust shield to block Ironwood's bullets. If Watts can do it, Adam is faster, and Adam would certainly be able to do that with his wilt. And so Adam would be able to charge up his semblance and store the power and just bide his time and wait for Ironwood to get close, or for the number of bullets in one of his pistols to run out, so Adam can use that to his advantage. He also has the capability with his Moonslice to unleash that stored power in an aura shockwave, almost. And if Ironwood just gets close enough, Adam may not have displayed that part of his semblance previously in the tournament. Ironwood would be aware that Adam stores up power and unleashes it outwards in a stronger attack, so he would definitely be avoiding Adam and keeping the distance between them, but Adam may not have displayed the full capabilities of his semblance, so he might have a chance to take Ironwood off guard, and if he is able to unleash one of those aura blasts, or simply charge in, get close enough to Ironwood, and deal a finishing blow, he might be able to take out Ironwood with a single strike. So I think Adam has the advantage in this fight, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below and how you think this fight would go. And then in our second match in the singles category, we have Blake Belladonna versus Emerald Sustrai in the Lava and Mountain biomes. Blake now has more experience than we've seen from Emerald. After having the training from the Aesops in Volume 7, I'd say Blake is more experienced than Emerald and would be able to take her out in an even fight. Emerald does have her semblance of hallucinations, which can be very tricky to deal with, but Blake has fought Emerald before, knows her semblance, and wouldn't let her activate it, because Emerald's semblance does need focus to be able to put someone under those hallucinations. And starting off the fight, we are assuming that characters aren't going to be activating their semblances or doing anything tricky before the fight begins. So, once the fight begins, if Emerald tries to find a vantage point to use her semblance or just try to activate her semblance right out of the gate, Blake could just fire off a couple bullets from Gamble Shroud, break Emerald's concentration, force her to dodge out of the way. Either way, Blake would be able to get in close to Emerald, and it would be more of a straight-up fight rather than Emerald using her semblance. But Blake would have her semblance available, her semblance of Shadow, being able to leave those afterimage clones that take the hit for her, and Emerald, with her weapons being the Thief's Respite, the chain sickles that she has, they have a bit more range than Blake's Gamble Shroud, and there being two of them, if this fight got to close range, I think Emerald might have the advantage, though Blake using her Shadow could easily sneak around Emerald, as it does give her a bit of momentum. Whenever she creates those clones, it launches her in a single direction, so Blake definitely could get a vantage point. Emerald I could see winning as well, but I think Blake takes this one overall based on the experience that she's had with the Aesops and possibly being a bit more mobile than Emerald. The biomes really don't play that much of a factor. The mountain biome might give a bit of added mobility to Blake, as there is some things she could latch onto with Gamble Shroud and pull herself forward, give herself a boost in momentum, but overall, I think Blake would just win in general. Emerald could win. We'll have to see how much her training has paid off after the months she spent at Salem Citadel training with Mercury, and see how she's improved the next time we see her in the RWBY series, and things might turn out differently. But for now, I think Blake does win out over Emerald. And then we move on to the team matches, where we have Team Goop versus Team Ashbury. Team Goop consisting of Glinda Goodwitch, Professor Ozpin, Bartholomew Oobleck, and Peter Port, and then Team Ashbury consisting of Ilya Amatola, Sienna Khan, Gira, and Kali Belladonna, and they are fighting in the Lava and Anti-Gravity biomes. And I think Team Goop just straight up wins this one, with Glinda and Ozpin being the strongest members of their team. We don't know Professor Oobleck's and Port's semblances, but we do know their weapons. Port fighting with his blowhard, his blunderbuss that is also an axe, and Oobleck fighting with his Antiquities Roast, his thermos that is also a bat and flamethrower, etc. But Glinda with her semblance of telekinesis is a lot to keep up with. and Ilya and Kali, unfortunately on Team RWBY, would go down fairly quickly. Even Ilya fighting with her Lightning Lash, I don't think she'd get much of a chance to use it. Even if she went up against Port or Oobleck, she might be able to hit them once or twice, but I think Oobleck with his Flamethrower would easily be able to overwhelm her, and so it'd mostly be up to Gira and Sienna to fight against all of Team Goop, and that matchup just does not go well. Sienna would be the trickiest one to hit, as she is more agile on the battlefield. Gira might be able to put up a decent fight against Port or Oobleck. Possibly Ozpin, though I highly doubt it. Ozpin with his speed would be able to overwhelm Gira without too much trouble, and possibly be able to overwhelm Sienna as well. I think Goop just takes this one pretty much every time, so unfortunately Team RWBY doesn't really have much of a chance. But then we get to our second fight in the teams category, and this one's a bit more interesting. We have Team Juniper versus Team RWBY. Team Juniper, of course, consisting of Jean Arc, Nora Valkyrie, Pyrrha, Nikos, and Lai Ren, and Team RWBY, if you're not familiar with the team, consists of Ruby Rose, Weiss Schnee, Blake Belladonna, and Yang Xiaolong, and they are fighting in the mountain and ice biomes. Now, the mountain biome does give an advantage to Nora, as if she's able to get to the top of that, she can charge up her semblance very quickly and gain a lot more strength than possibly Yang would be able to with her burn, at least using a lot less risk, having to reduce her own aura to do so. So if Team Juniper is able to get Nora up to the top of that mountain, she will have a huge advantage when it comes to strength and possibly be able to knock out members of Team RWBY in a single go. One thing that I'm unsure of when it comes to Nora is that if she does get this lightning and charge up her muscles, make herself that much stronger, can Zhang boost that even further with his aura amp? Because if so, then Nora could possibly just slam and destroy an entire biome that Team RWBY is standing on. If that's the case, then that might put them in a pretty advantageous situation. We also have to consider that Pyrrha has her semblance of polarity, and Zhang boosting that with his aura amp would mean that all of the metal on Team RWBY, so Weiss's Myrtanaster, Ruby's Crescent Rose, Blake's Gamble Shroud, and Yang's Ember Celica, would be pushed backwards by the magnetic pulse that Pyrrha would release. But Team RWBY has had the training from the Aesops, so did Zhang, Nora, and Ren, so they are all on equal footing when it comes to training, though it seems that Team Juniper has always been a slight step behind Team RWBY when it comes to that aspect, as in Volumes 1 to 3, if Team Juniper and Team RWBY went head-to-head, Ren, Nora, and Zhang would be a step below Team RWBY, whereas Pyrrha, obviously, at that point, would be a step above. In this case, I think everyone is pretty much on equal playing field, I would argue, and it would be a difficult fight for either to win. With Pyrrha's semblance of polarity, that might just pull out the win for Team Juniper overall, but I do see everyone from Team RWBY, especially knowing Team Juniper as well as they do, being able to adapt to the situation. They would easily be able to split up, at least Weiss be able to hold back, get her summoning, get the Armagigas or the Queen Lancer or even the Borbatusk, and that would be something that would not be affected by Pyrrha's polarity. If they can have the summon deal with Pyrrha and break up her and Zhang so that they can't actually be boosting one another or Zhang boosting Pyrrha, then that would be an advantageous position for them to get into. They would probably spread out to move around the battlefield so Pyrrha wouldn't be able to affect all of them at once. I could see Blake matching her speed against Ren and Yang matching her power against Nora, doing everything she can to prevent Nora from getting to the top of the mountain. And then when it comes to Zhang and Pyrrha, I could see RWBY and Weiss tag teaming and fighting against them as well. This could go a number of different ways, but I think Team RWBY, with their adaptability, being a tactical team, would be able to eke out an advantage over Team Juniper, but Team Juniper would not go down very easily. Nora with her grenade launcher would also be a problem, and Ren also has some long-range capabilities. Zhang with his gravity dust shield would be able to knock any of the close combat fighters of Team RWBY back if they got close, so with Zhang and Pyrrha fighting in tandem, that would be a difficult pair to go up against, so this could go various different ways. I do think that Team RWBY would be able to win, RWBY with her sniping capabilities, Yang eventually activating her semblance of burn, and Blake with her shadow being able to dodge out of the way. I think Team RWBY would be a little bit more versatile and be able to win, but let me know your thoughts on this one down below. This would have been a fight I would have loved to see possibly take place in the Vital Festival tournament or things like that, but Unfortunately, we won't get to see that in the RWBY series. Maybe we'll have Zhang, Ren, and Nora fight against some members of Team RWBY at some point, but for now we will have to settle for the thought experiment that is taking place in the Phoenix Festival tournament. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the tournament overall. The results of round 4 will be posted this weekend, so look forward to that. Make sure to subscribe, join the Guild of the Eternal Flame, tweet me at PhoenixKnight7, join our Discord server as well, link in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.